Following the 2021 season, Major League Baseball confirmed using baseballs of two different weights during the season due to COVID-era manufacturing issues. However, a recent study by Insider found that juiced balls were still in circulation during the 2022 season and claims that a third MLB ball was introduced in 2022. The man who did the investigative reporting on this story and initially in 2021 and worked on the most recent study is Insider investigative reporter Bradford, William Davis. He joins me now. Bradford, thanks for taking the time to talk with me about this. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you here, Bradford. It's a lot to get into, so let's break this down for the people. In your initial reporting, unknown to players, two different baseballs were being used, and now there's allegedly a third ball. What is going on here, Bradford? Explain it for us.
Try to make it as tight as I can, but look, Major League Baseball manufactured two different baseballs in the 2020 and 2021 seasons. One more juice than the other, and juice is really a common parlance. It just means that it goes further when you hit it off the crack of the bat. The way they do that is by making the ball heavier. As long as you keep the size the same, that will travel further. Anyway, what we found this year was some of those same juice balls in circulation, mostly the lighter, deader ball in circulation, the one that actually Major League Baseball is committed to as the ball that they plan on using now and going forward. But then we found 36 of another ball that 31 of which we weighted, but all of them which we found were manufactured in the same weeks that do not overlap with the juiced or the dead weeks. And those balls were kind of weighted in the middle. They were like sort of, maybe a gram heavier than the juice, and thus means it travels a little further. So call them semi-juice, whatever you want to say. But we call them Goldilocks balls because it's like not too hot, not too cold. Anyway, those were found throughout, in Major League Baseball in regular season play, in the All-Star game, Home Run Derby, and much of the playoffs as well.
Now, that's very interesting. So for some people or fans that might be learning about this for the first time, and they might think this, Bradford, what's the big deal here? And in your reporting, you noted that multiple MLB players were not cool with the use of different weighted balls, and they find this problematic. Why are players concerned about this?
Well, the balls will form differently depending on which one you get. That is the issue. I mean, baseball players, they want consistency. They're creatures of habit and routine. They want to know that what they're playing with is what is regulated and fair and standard across not just their stadium but any stadium, any team that's playing is playing with the exact same equipment. And so what we found was that is not true, which is something that players had attested to. They noticed sometimes the ball carries out really far, sometimes it don't. And it's not just weather as a variable. It's not just the strength of the hitter as a variable, but it's actually the baseball itself. What they want is consistency. A lot of people are agnostic to the idea of a juice ball or a dead ball, whatever. They don't mind as long as everyone is playing with the same thing.
Right, consistency is what matters here. And there's also a local tie here, Bradford, because in your reporting, we learned that, as you said, the Goldilocks balls that Insider obtained from the 2022 regular season that didn't have commemorative stamps came from Yankees games. So Insider, they got their hands on 11 of these balls. From your findings, does this or should this change how fans might view Aaron Judge's record-breaking 62 home run season?
That's right. Most of the balls, again, in our sample, which to be clear is unscientific, right? We can't get balls from every single stadium. Major League Baseball has certainly not provided that data to us, so we get them where we can. But where we found balls that did not have a commemorative stamp that were also this Goldilocks category, which means a little bit heavier, and produced in certain weeks, we found them, connected to Yankees games, either played at Yankee Stadium during home BP, or when the Yankees are hitting on road BP, which means that the Yankees were very likely bringing those baseballs with them on the road, when they were doing their batting practice. So that is a totally normative part of how teams do BP, just so everyone's clear. That is not a allegation of cheating in any sense. It's just they bring the balls that get shipped to their stadium, they bring them on the road. So that's why I highlighted that, because last year we couldn't find any sort of pattern. We couldn't find any sort of similarity between like what was going on with ball A and ball B, but this time we noticed it in one place. As far as like how you should feel about Aaron Judge, that's not me for me to say. Listen, he's a beast. He's always going to be at the top of the home run rankings in the season, so long as he's healthy. And I'm glad he got his money. I'm glad he got that full contract. I think that what we should think about is whether or not there should be multiple baseballs in circulation that create the sort of suspicion, understandable suspicion, as to whether or not Major League Baseball has a thumb on the scale.
Right. The suspicion is definitely understandable, especially from the fans' perspective and also the players as well, too. And lastly, Bradford, in your story, you had a quote from Phillies outfielder Nick Castellanos, who said, in the NFL, there was Deflategate. It happened one time, and people were punished. Here, we use multiple balls, and nothing happens, end quote. Do you think players and fans will eventually get clear answers about the different balls? And will anyone be held accountable? Will anything happen following your latest reporting?
Well, Major League Baseball denied the, that we found the juice ball that they confirmed in our previous study. And they also denied the existence of this, what we believe is a Goldilocks ball. So, that is their position on the matter. However, I think accountability can be found. It might just be the outside, just good journalism, good reporting, and perhaps any sort of interested third party who wants consistency in their industry.
Yeah, well, I know this something for sure with you, Bradford. This is something that you have done some really deep investigative work on. I know you will continue to keep your eye on it. In the baseball world, we'll be talking about this as we approach the 2023 season. That is Bradford William Davis, investigative reporter for Insider. Bradford, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. I look forward to talking to you about this more down the road.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, man.